Starting out with laughter is definitely an opportunity. It's like, it's funny. It's like some people, I just couldn't believe it. It was like we didn't exist. It's like we weren't visible. Is that what they say about like
Well,
when?
it's the string chord theory.
Mm,
Well, it's not. What is that? Well, I can't remember that one research that they did where it wasn't called string chord theory. It was literally where the dude picked up a phone and he was speaking to somebody else, and it was another time, or like it's like the etherical principle
uh
that
huh.
everything exists simultaneously, right?
Uh huh. Yeah.
But
Everything is always now.
everything is always now. Everything is simultaneous. And hey, Raven, and it was the existence that they were in the same place at the same exact time, but one could not see another, but one could hear another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was through a phonograph
What
that
was
it
it?
was
What
done.
was it? I don't know if it.
I don't remember
I
what the
think it was an old
instrument was.
radio.
Yes, I don't remember what the instrument was,
Yeah,
but
I
they
think it
were
was
in
an
the
old
same
radio.
place at the same exact time, but yet they couldn't see each other. And it was the point of existence where everything was occurring at that exact moment at the exact time for those two things to merge and intertwine,
Mm-hmm.
which is a part of the new timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Because there has to be some type of osmosis, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
When
Some
things
mesh. It
merge,
has to come
yeah, that
together.
has to come together to come apart again, to separate. So
Okay.
like that moment of that time, because time's not really linear, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that existence, both of that energy occurred in transference is what's being said to me. So then in that osmosis time of that frequency of that transference, it's like when we're inside and we hear like nobody else is in the house whatsoever, we're, obviously, and then at the same time when we're there we hear shit all the time, and it's like, remember when we were at the old
Okay.
place,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I feel like yeah.
and it's not like half the time we knew that it felt human, but it wasn't spirit, but it felt
Mm-hmm.
human, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I
And it
get it.
felt like it felt as if it was going to be the people that were going to be moving into our house,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And
Different
so
moments in time that you viewed just for a brief
brief moment,
moment.
yeah, and they overlapped, right? So those things overlapped, which occurred, which was osmosis, and then that time lapse
Mm-hmm.
pulled away from each other.
Oh, here's where it gets really interesting is now like, when you see those ripples in time, right? When you see those little ripples in time,
Right.
how do you tell the difference
Well,
between that ripple in time or a spirit? Or it's
the
or hold on.
energy is different.
Okay.
You can feel the difference in the energy.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, tell me at this point in time in the game after 3.5 years, you don't know the embodiment of spirit. And you don't know the embodiment of ancestry. And you don't know the embodiment of a higher being, right?
I asked the question for the sake of conversation, but yes.
Okay, so then that's my whole point. Then you have enough discernment to know that.
Yeah. Well, just yes, you're absolutely
So
right.
then I don't know how to describe that because
Well,
you can
honestly,
only, you
just
can
to
only
describe it to people that you don't
you can't
know.
you can't describe that to people that don't know, because it's only through experience of you going through the experience of you knowing the frequency were you able to discern the difference between the energy.
Yeah,
So you can't really describe. Remember when you sat here and I told you, I was like, I'm trying to describe to these people the things that are, and then you're like, honey, they're not going to understand the level of what you're speaking at because they don't
uh-huh.
it's the same
It's like
thing.
the only way that you could say that to somebody is
Is
like I'm
somebody who
seeing ripples
experienced
in
it.
time.
When I told when I told mommy that the earth, I could feel the earth move beneath my ground, she's like, yeah, that's the earthquakes all the way over there. And I'm like, mommy, no, this is a different type of energy. It feels like I can feel Mother Gaia's
Yeah.
heartbeat and rhythm for a moment, where the energy in my feet goes like this. When I feel earthquake, it goes like this. I can feel
Mm-hmm.
the shake and the rumble of Mother Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when there's like something going on in transference with ley lines or osmosis, or I feel her heartbeat, it comes in through my feet as in if they were waves.
That's cool as shit because I've read stories about women being so connected to the great mother, to earth,
Mm-hmm.
that they experience, you know, those things inside of themselves, whether they get nauseous all of a sudden, where things get
Yeah.
shaky, they lose their equilibrium, they get
Yeah.
vertigo, they can't do anything but lay on the ground, they get dizzy, so it's like it's fascinating to
How can you
see how
imagine?
connected we are to the planet itself, when we
Yeah.
that some for some, or for a lot of people, it comes naturally, but for those who are sensitive or in tune, on this higher path, to be able to connect it with the earth that way and understand those things is beautiful.
It's just you have to have the experience to be able to authentically understand it, overstand it, right? So, like, a lot of people speak it, or a lot of people teach it, or a lot of people preach it, but they don't have the experience to be able to portray or speak on those things to help another go through that pathway. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's that's a lot of the difference in what I've seen the collective craving is that transitional phase of no, no, no. I don't care how much you know. I want to know how you experienced it from point A to point B, to
Yeah.
know I'm not going crazy, to know that I'm not lost in the in between,
Mm-hmm.
and to know that there is a pathway for me to go from here to here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the experiences may be different based upon their evolution of understanding and awareness and their inside, right? But the energy will remain the same through the transitional process.
Mm-hmm.
Because the goal for anyone at this point in time in the game is to embody the highest form of frequency from which they came, is what was just said to me in authenticity. So it may not look the same for everybody because everybody's soul evolution is not on the same
No, it's
pathway,
different.
right?
It's different.
So the experience of the soul's journey is based upon its own evolution,
Mm-hmm.
but so many people try to hurry that
Or compare
pathway
themselves to someone else.
to transition. And you can't do that in the divine experience of itself,
Mm-hmm.
because as a piece or a particle of itself, it came to experience itself in those experiences of the soul level to free itself into a higher plane of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And here you're taught the resistance
Mm-hmm.
to be able to ascend in spirit,
Yeah.
which is the energy that we have available to us that has never been able to be preconceived. And this was one of the gifts that Yeshua left to humanity.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I think the first step is like when you embody the fact that you are a spirit. Like, you have to embody the fact that you're a spirit to actually, really give your awareness some oomph.
Ooh, I think personally, you go through a place of trying to understand yourself so incredibly much that you're so sick and tired of peeling yourself away that you just don't care to understand anything anymore, because society and even in the spiritual demographic of things, what do they push? That you're the problem, that
Mm-hmm.
you have to do
Mm-hmm.
shadow work, right? So I believe, in all honesty, you come to a point of persistence and existence of understanding the past experience will just come up authentically when it's needed to. There's only so much trauma work that you can do
Yeah.
at that point in time, right before you evolutionize to a higher timeline, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't repeat the same thing, but the energy might be similar, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I've had that experience before. I don't choose to have that experience this time. I'm going to move on to that door and not have that experience anymore because I don't like that feeling. So I really believe that the process. Remember how many times I sat here and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with me? And you were like, what if nothing's wrong with you? And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Have you ever asked yourself that
wait a minute.
question?
You're right.
Seriously.
What if nothing's really fucking wrong with me? What if this is exactly what's supposed to be happening, how it's supposed to be happening? There's absolutely nothing wrong with me. But society and people before me taught me that I had to peel myself away in multiple layers, which actually led me astray from my own sovereignty. And I'm not saying that those things are not important along the way, but through the process of building the foundation of your spiritual identity, which is reclaiming your sovereignty, your bounds, your truth. And when we speak your truth, it's not in a demeaning way, it's in a very graceful way, it's in a very tactful way. It's not in a, you're fighting with your fists closed or you're fighting at all. It's the lack of resistance to surrender to the call, right? To
Mm-hmm.
understand in the experience that you're having that experience because there's a level of growth that you may not always understand or know that the
Mm-hmm.
soul is going through, but we as a people are told that we have to understand absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many things that you spiritually just cannot explain that
Yeah.
happen naturally in the background when you surrender to how you feel that day, or you feel that's the way you should go, the intuitive play, because what you're connecting to is your highest of self
Yes. The
in the
surrender.
dimensional
Yeah,
way,
you're
right?
not creating any resistance between that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's hilarious is that we try to control shit and we don't even realize that. It's like, oh, just because you're not touching it doesn't mean you're not trying to control it. More
Right.
so, what we talk of, what we speak of, is the thoughts in your mind that you're trying to control because you're trying to litigate and mitigate and, you know, try to figure out how it all works. When in actuality, you are going to be shown the more you surrender to the moment, right? And you realize that happens naturally over time when you stop trying to control shit. And deja vu, as I say this, when you stop trying to think things into existence,
Ooh, yeah.
you allow that which is meant for you to come to you, to
Mm.
flow to you, to give you insight, clarity, wisdom, knowledge,
Knowledge.
material. What it could be anything,
Right.
you know. When you let go of the thoughts, that's why they say the attachment to no thing.
Mm.
All right,
We used to
because
say that, yeah.
these are things.
Things.
Okay, even this is a thing, right? Yeah, it's life. It's beautiful. But when we release our earthly attachments, as we go through the healing process of releasing our earthly or emotional attachments, whichever way you want to say it, you're also releasing the binding
Mm-hmm. Of yourself.
of yourself.
Of the suppression from the oppression that you placed upon yourself. Sorry, I
Yeah,
apologize.
to the, basically the spiritual trap
Right.
of reincarnating over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where you actually have a solid situation to ascend without any ordeal once you have that understanding. So
It's
it's,
part of the reprogramming, and the reprogramming of the mind is literally being very activated where you become more aware of your thoughts online.
mm-hmm,
And in order to do that, you create a place and space of stillness. The reason why people get into meditation is to become more aware. It's not necessarily to always hear channel message. How many times you sit in meditation and you actually hear something? The only time that I really feel and receive anything in meditation is when I'm on a shamanic journey and there's a whole bunch of visualization. But when I'm taking a shower, or when I'm doing the dishes, or when I'm working on a blog or a paper or something in the background, or a class or whatever it is, that's when those things come in. Because I'm in a natural flow, right? So when I'm in a natural flow, that means that I'm open to receive, right?
yep,
And in that natural flow of state of being, then that's where I am open to receive the wisdom, the knowledge, the clarity, the how to. But most people are so caught up in anxiety, in the past or the future,
mm-hmm,
that they don't understand the resistance that they're
yeah,
causing
they're
and placing
creating the
on their
very
own
attachments.
demand.
Those are those attachments to know things, because thoughts are things.
Correct. But when you work with people and you teach the people how to reprogram their brain,
Mm-hmm.
because they're all over the place in a mental plane, you have to start and teach them the awareness of the brain
Yes.
and how the formulation of it works. Because you can sit here and you can tell somebody all day, stop the thoughts that you're having.
No, 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 no,
That
no,
doesn't
no. You
work.
gotta help them practice
You
that
have to
shit.
help them practice to stopping
Yeah.
the thought that is breeding the anxious energy inside. Or you are sitting there calmly reading or doing something, and this energy hits your heart, and there's anxiety all over the place, and it's beating 10 million miles an hour. But you're like, wait a minute, nothing's happened to me. But then people go, oh my God, that's mine. I have to figure this out. Now what's wrong with me?
And
And it's
then
like, whoa, nothing's wrong with you. Your heart is a magnet. It's an electromagnetic frequency, which is going to be reading energy all around you. So more than likely, it's a frequency that has penetrated upon your auric field that is coming into your existence, that in your auric field that you're feeling, right? Or else when you have a thought about someone else,
yeah,
right? More than likely it's because they're thinking about you at that moment in time, because telepathy right now is off the charts. Okay? So that's when you can feel those pullings of energy. So the point that I was trying to make in this experience for all of you is that when you are in the place of least resistance, you will receive everything that you need, which is nothingness, right? So the state of existing. And it's hard for us to exist because as a society, we've taught that there's so many things that are wrong with just being. You always have to be doing. You always have to be receiving. You always have to be grieving. You always have to be doing something. And what if for one moment you sat in the chair and you did nothing? I wonder how fully aware you would become with yourself and the things around you, the smells, the feelings, the connection, whatever that was in vibration. Remember, they have forgotten all. They have forgotten what connects them all to me and you.
mm-hmm.
A dream, some think that won't come true. Far-fetched, they think, but that's the key. Divine intervention, no one can see, but the truest of eyes and hearts that beat.
Mm-hmm.
My plants, my rivers, my trees. What a sweet treat, but they have forgotten what connects them all to me and you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, connecting to thy mother, connecting to one another,
Mm-hmm.
to share the vibrational experience of thorough dynamics and transformation, to understand how it exists in elevation, is what they're telling me the collective needs in imperialization again.
There's an imperial word again.
But imperialization, I'm wondering,
Imperialization.
hold on, I'm wondering if they're combining one word and it's supposed to be three separate words. So let me connect here for a minute and clarify on that existence.
No.
Okay, so there's three parts to this: the impure realizations, the
Oh.
assumptions,
Mm-hmm.
the grievances, the
Yeah.
bereavances, the oppressions, the depressions,
Yeah. I
the
bet.
imperialization. So
Yeah.
the impure realization.
Yeah. The impure realizations. It's funny because it's when you were talking, literally
I
the
love when they
concept.
break things down for fun.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
the concept of Yahweh, which is basically YHWH. If you look it up, it means breathe in and breathe out, right? And it reminds me of the fact that it's like when you breathe, you're not thinking. When you're focusing on your breath and you're intending to breathe, you don't think. And I think that's where a lot of people get defeated,
Mm.
not realizing that that's important. It's like focus on the breath. We tell our mentees all the time, focus on the breath. Never mind what you're thinking. You are the awareness of the thoughts that you think. Let them come and go because they're arising. And what you're doing is you're actually purifying your auric field as you do this. You're actually cleansing yourself of impure thoughts, energy resonances outside of yourself that don't belong to you, tuning into Gaia, tuning into more of your natural resonance, and a lot of people and I believe that this is kind of like a key thing, is like when you mention the benefits of just sitting there and taking the time to just accept the fact that you are this being right here in this moment and that you are just breathing for your balance, your alignment, your health, your wealth, your well-being, your understanding of yourself, your connection to the divine, to the all. You know what I'm saying? To God, whichever way you want to say that. Yeah, and I think that, a lot of people need these experiences, or we share these experiences with people to help them understand that it's like, hey, dude, a lot of people get defeated rather rapidly, or they get caught up in the same thing over and over again because they don't realize what's truly important, right? We get distracted and we want to do something else, and it's like, hey, this is one simple technique that if you just practiced it once a day, you would feel differences in your daily life structure. You would see more things. You would be connected to more things. You would feel more things. You would see more things, be in more of a clear state of awareness. Those things alone benefit any human being at any given level that they're at, right? You know, and as we become more advanced practitioners, yeah, then we start seeing like ripple effects and how time shifts and how with a choice we create all these opportunities, and we definitely have more clear insight to what's happening as beings that are here for certain purposes. We get to see these how dimensional shifts happen and all these wonderful things, but it all started with the breath. It all started with that focus. It all started with that appreciation for oneself, because when you breathe in and breathe out, you are breathing in and breathing out the very thing that you are, which is life, which is God, which is love, which is all the beauty that anyone can ever experience in a moment, by allowing that to flow through you, because you're in a state of allowing as you're doing that. So I wanted to just kind of like explain that to people to help them understand that wherever you are in your practice, or what is it that you're looking forward to, or what is it that you think that you need to focus on more, I would say that this is probably one of the first things that I'd come back to, to see if I can do it better, or if I can do it in a way where it's more pleasing to me, because now I have more awareness. I have someone who shared their experiences with them to let them know that, hey, dude, it's a process, and don't beat yourself up during this process, and kind of like hold yourself to an accord and make a commitment to yourself to surrender in that moment to the breath. And you'd be amazed the things that happen in a moment.
I wish it were fun. I really do. But I was told to sit here and make sure that you got to speak what you needed to speak.
Hmm.
But I was taken to a place and a space where I wanted to weep because I could feel for a moment in time everything that the divine felt. And we gotta back this up for a minute. When we were talking about the grievances and the grievances, and then you were talking about things pulling you back, that's when I got taken away and I was pulled into vision with Yeshua. So many of you blamed Jesus and blamed God for the things that you went through. Come to find out, those lessons were blessings, only to have Yeshua and the divine forgive you in order to be able to receive you, for you to be able to connect back to God this time.
Fireworks just went off in the background.
And you need to understand and know that you're already forgiven, and for you to connect back to you, you have to understand that you were forgiven, because when you connect back to you, you ultimately connect back to God through you. And just understand that all the blame and all the victimization and all, why has this happened to me? Why have you forsaken me? Just trust me, God, and Yeshua heard you.
So
But little did you know they were right there with you, guiding you, holding you, never forsaking you, always blessing you after the fact and always giving you exactly what you needed and you fully intact. So you have to forgive yourself for the blame, for the shame, for the victimization that you placed on yourself to put you in stagnation because you were the one that walked away from God in the first place.
And the experience teaches us that we actually shed all those things along the way the more we come into acceptance and surrenderance of that very fact. You know, when the story of the fallen angels is a beautiful story because it's also the story of us. You know, we descended, we came down from heaven, to experience life on the planet and enjoy what the planet had. But, then its selfishness and greed and all these other spiritual concepts were created as well. And here we are, still pulling ourselves out of the mud, because we're actually remembering who we are. We're not we're not forgetting anymore, as we were talking about it yesterday. And I believe that that is a very a very beautiful understanding when you realize that it's like, hey dude, the story of the fallen angels is also the story of you. It's the story of, how you descended here, but also how you have ascended, because a lot of you that are here right now have gotten to that point where you realize that you're consistently growing, that you're changing, that you're evolving. For those of you who think that you're not changing, I'm sorry. I don't know who lied to you. I apologize. Because we all are. Everything changes based on our frequency, on our alignment. And for those of us who understand how dimensions work or levels of vibration, there's also different realities that are associated with it. But I'm not going to get into that too much. It's more so aligning with that moment of, and I'm completely fucking lost my shit. I'll just wait for spirit to come to let me back. But as we were talking about frequential alignment and ascension, you realize that things are changing, period, depending on your frequency in the moment. And we understand all these beautiful things that are happening, but yet we allow our physical, and I believe it's kind of like going back to the message where we allow the physical to pull us back in, just like the past does. You know what I'm saying? And then we go into a state of survival, and Saturn was really big on that. Trust me, I have experience. You know what I'm saying?
It's going into
It
retro in
sucked,
2 days.
you know?
Right?
But when you realize what's happening in your life as to why Mercury retrograde will be a really good example for a
Right.
lot of you people to pay attention, to check it out. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people like to come from the past. People that you don't know, fucking DM. You get all these surprises in the first what is it, couple weeks, of these
It
beginnings.
usually happens within the first week of the shadow for
Yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. Technology doesn't get fucked up till the latter when Mercury's kind of like going back, is what I've noticed. But a lot of people will notice that these things from the past are there for you to become aware, like we were talking about yesterday, to realize that none of those things are you anymore. But if you emotionally want to get involved with it, like you have in the past, it's all yours.
All of it.
That's your gift.
You get to. You can if you choose to. You don't have to.
You don't. And that's what we're talking about here.
You don't have to pick up the phone. You don't have to answer that message. I got to teach a mentee this about a week and a half ago, and she was like, I just don't know what to do, but I just don't. And I said, you don't have to answer. Who tells you that you have to answer? You're choosing to answer. Well, then I feel bad. Well, then that's your problem for feeling bad for putting up a boundary. Because if it doesn't align with you, then it doesn't align with you. If it doesn't feel good, then it doesn't feel good. Why are you doing it in the first place? So why do we do things that don't feel good in the first place? Because in some way, shape, or form, the mentality or the feeling of the vibration takes you back to making you feel like you have to.
Mm-hmm.
But what's making you feel like you have to? It's only you oppressing yourself at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than doing the next right thing to a feeling that is good. Look, that thing only goes up.
When
Did you
there's a
see it?
lot, yeah,
When
there's a
there's
lot of
activity.
activity.
So, in that understanding, I ask you, why do you do things that don't feel good?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you feel like you have to. That's your problem then. That's a you problem. Why do you then feel like you have to? And then you go from there to understand why you do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you understand why you do what you do, or why you give in to what you give into that doesn't feel good, then you have a higher awareness then of not doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't happen right away. You're going to catch yourself about 2 or 3, 4 times before you actually get into that cycle of a natural new time frame or cycle of not remaining in that the same. But
Mm-hmm.
how many times did you have to practice something before you got it right? But the reason that you meditate, the reason that you breathe, the reason that you come into your higher awareness to receive is to catch yourself from doing those things so that you don't do them. So, how many times have you seen me start to go back to a place, catch myself, redirect myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's been about 3 or 4 times I'm fully aware of it, and then boom, an experience comes up where I get to practice it. I practice it half-assed. Boom, I have the experience again. Fuck, I got it halfway right that time. Then the next time I have the experience, I got it fucking 3/4 of the way correct. And then the last time I have the experience, I usually soar. That's usually why things come in threes. You get to practice them 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
right? You get to practice the lesson usually. Well, for me, it's about 3 times. It's just a divine number that I have. You know, it usually is finally on that third try.
Third
I
time's the charm,
I
bro.
literally get
It's.
it, right? And so I literally get it. But at the same time, you have to evolve through those experiences. So to have that experience, to be able to receive, for you to handle the situation which used to baffle you, that doesn't baffle you any longer, you have that orientation of direction. And that's how you get mentally stronger. That's how you get emotionally stronger,
Yeah.
right? You get a little bit stronger every day. Reminds me of damn, a little bit stronger. And
Yeah, you
I
gotta
don't
be
know.
willing to do shit different
That's
too,
a
man.
country song, and I don't think it's Shania Twain, but no, it's Martina McBride. A little bit stronger. You get a little bit stronger every day, and so the mindset in which you practice then starts to come alive. Now, a lot of you are trying to jump into this new creative timeline, is what they're telling me. So many different passions and so many different things are opening up, but there's this feeling behind this energy as if there's like, you're waiting for something to show up, you're waiting to be unstuck, you're waiting for some type of deliverance, which is another way of saying, breakthrough, right? Delivery from the situation in which you're in that keeps you, is the best way that I can say that. And fuck, it's always all over the board. um for some of you to become unstuck, you have to change the environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
For others of you to receive the breakthrough, no bullshit, there is an energy that you have to cross through, and this is within the week to the next week and a half for you. It's about an astrology thing. So just know that there is divine order that is going to be brought around, right? And some of you are like, well, how? I'm just at the house, I'm not really doing anything. Listen, God has mysterious ways of making things
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Surrender the when, what, why, and how.
Okay? And just understand it's now. Some of you are choosing to dive into deeper parts of you, not to reflect on past issues, but to come into the newness of how you feel, what you're connecting to, what's real for you, right? And some of these things are gonna write, and some people in here are writing certain experiences or diving into certain things when it comes to that creative endeavor too. But there's going to be a lot of new things that captivate your attention. So, but for a lot of you, it's a deliverance of someone or something that you are attached to in the time existence that keeps you stuck in that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether it be a family thing or a relationship thing, or hear me out, a prophetic thing where you're in the same place that that you're not believed in. Remember, Yeshua, no one believed Yeshua in the city in which he was born in. Okay? Nobody. And in order for those people to be put in Yeshua's path that Yeshua was to receive, for then those things to be received by others, you have to move out of energies, because a lot of you don't even realize how energies around you work against you. But you're like, what energies? You always put it to a person.
Oh, facts, bro.
Right? You always put it to like a physical person, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
remember it's not even a spirit, it's also energy centers in which you live, where
Mm-hmm.
there's not, the ley lines in your astrocartography are not right for you to
Mm-hmm.
be in that timeline. So when you're being moved, you need to be moved for things to open up for you. A
Yeah.
lot of things are not equal, and so of course there's justification here, but you ask for that justification, but when the justification comes up, you don't like the way that the justification shows up, so then you back down from the opportunity because you don't like the way it looks or you don't like the way it feels. When in sincerity, if you would just take the leap, it will actually turn out than what you actually seek.
Yeah, because God has a way of getting into your life and show you how your energy is being harvested
Mm-hmm.
in ways you had no idea
Thank you so
until you
much.
take that leap or you take that jump or you surrender to that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that it just, God just wants to show you what that all is. You know what I'm saying? You know, how you might sit there and fight the whole fucking idea in one way or another about how it ain't gonna go work for you. And it's like, bro, you have to let go of all that stuff and take that leap to see what it's trying to show you. You know what I'm saying? Because it loves you. It loves you so much. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about heartfelt. It's about being aware and wise that how much it actually has compassion for you, and how gifted it can be to for you to trust in that, right? And I can't remember where the hell I was going with this, but I know that God is good in that space where, we the hell, I lost it, and I just wait for it to come back. I love how confusion sets in every once in a while, just out of nowhere.
That's because of that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. 110%.
yeah,
So
definitely.
when it, let me dive into the depths of what you're going into here,
Please do.
because it's the knowledge and the wisdom and the experience that's coming up inside of you that you don't understand that you're hearing it or that you're receiving it, and it's just naturally moving you. And Jose is coming to the process where you had to overthink everything, where you had to overdo everything, where you, it's just the divine ordinance of coming back into the higher existence of what truly rules you. And what rules you? Love in the purest form of existence.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? Love. But here's something that I was taught a very long time ago, and it's actually one of a video from, oh my god, there, I told you I was going to do that in this chair. Um, it's a video from 2020. And I remember there was times when I was in my life when I sat here and I was like, you know what? For so incredibly long, I was 38, and I was 38, and I sat here and I was like, I tried to define love, and I've traveled many places to try to understand what that is, right? But love is so many things. You can't sit here and go, oh, that's love, because love shows up in so many different ways, right? So love shows up sometimes harshly. Love shows up in ways that push your ass to do things, right? Where you understand it's a part of divine order. Love is compassion. Love is faith. Love is translation. Love is understanding. Love is many things. But one thing that I've truly known that love is not is pain. Period. Period. End of story. Anything else that comes from that lesson or from that teaching, it's love. It's the creator teaching you love. But how does a parent teach a child love? Through boundaries, through what not to do. But they do it with grace. They do it with grace. It's not necessarily harsh. When you're older, it's harsher because you're more stubborn to not listen. So the universal laws of karmic translation and energy embodiment naturally work. We watch karma within our children happen every day, and it's hard not to laugh. It's immediate. And it's sad.
Karma's instantaneous.
Instantaneous around here. Karma is instantaneous around here.
That's why, you know.
The little one, she'll look at dad and straight up tell her dad no, turn around and trip right on her face. And then you don't know whether to laugh or feel bad because you know what's at play. And she goes, "That's karma!" All the way. And calls herself out.
Yep.
Right?
You gotta study that universal law, man.
That's love. That's love. Love comes in many forms because it teaches you what not to do. And so it's undefined because it's so many things. Because when you look at the way that you have loved, look at how that's come out in you.
That's so profound.
It's true though.
That is so profound too.
But it's something that I came into understanding back in 2020 because it was literally something that I literally, you know how deep I am.
Yeah,
okay,
dude.
So it's not just surface level for me. So when I got down to the nitty gritty, because I was questioning, I was like, wait a minute. After 38 years, I still come to find that love is undefined for me because love is not one thing. Love is many things, but I do know that love is not pain.
Yeah, anything that's not God is suffering.
And so, therefore, I understood that the experiences that I went through were more of a blessing than anything else because it was teaching me in the realm of universal law and spirituality and human law what not to do. I was more afraid of spirit than I was human law because I understood what I had done in the karma that remember I told you that I literally had met that woman Tanya back in 2000 and 12, 13, 14, 2014, and she was like, listen, I don't know what you did, but I need you to understand that you literally gave yourself 4 more years of penance than what was originally your karma for things that you went through and things that you did. Right? And so I didn't understand what that had meant back in that time and back in that day. But then along the way, I understood what she meant because I thought then that's the way things were supposed to be. I thought I was to live in a place of sacrifice or whatever because of the experiences that I continued to have in my life. I thought that I had done so wrong in my life because I'd already been shunned by the church. I already had, gone through many different trials and tribulations. So I was like, okay, well, after practicing witchcraft and binding people in this way and in this form and doing this thing, well, I guess that's my penance. Right? So then I just allowed it to oppress me and not understanding what was actually transitioning through that process. So I gave myself more time than what the universe had actualized for me to understand,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I was looking at that, because everybody always has said, even you, I remember time after time, you're like, God is love. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But when it comes down to love, let's break this down, because love is many things.
Yeah, a great
But
many
one
things.
thing I do know, that love is not pain, right? And it may feel like pain to our ego, right? Because we're shaming ourselves. And what was it that was said the other day? And it was one of it came out of the Gospel of Mary. Damn it. It came out of the Gospel of Mary, and anything that was not of truth that made you feel, damn it, you, oh my god, I can't remember it. It's gonna make me want to go back and find it. And it's in the Gospel of Mary, and Mary says this. It was spoken by Mary, actually.
Yeah,
And
anything
it
that
was,
not true, anything that is not truth will
I'm not,
make you feel,
I'm gonna
you
put
know.
it up on YouTube tomorrow. I'll put it up on
Yeah,
YouTube tomorrow, is one of like the sayings or whatever. You know how you can make a post on YouTube? I'll put it up on a post on YouTube. And I'll put it up on TikTok too, on like my story or whatever. But it's basically where she literally had spoken that anything does not feel of whatever. I can't say it. I'm not doing any of it justice. But it
yeah.
comes back into that divine law of oneness. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's an understanding that no, things are not perfect, but as you move through that process, the more that you victimize yourself, the more that you shame yourself, the
Yeah,
more that you cast doubt, the more that you go, what's wrong with me, the more that's the hand that you're going to be dealt based upon universal law,
yeah. It's kind of
right?
like those who feel like they're forsaken. No,
Mm-hmm.
you forsake yourself.
Correct.
And the journey and the willingness to connect with the Creator will show you,
Everything that you need.
yep, all your questions will be answered because you already had them.
110%. So what you go through is the grieving process of what you obviously know, rather than what you truly believe in
Mm-hmm.
your soul and heart to receive.
Yep.
So it's the grieving process. All right, I've got a client in about an hour, and we're gonna shut it down here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
listen, if you guys would like to jump in tomorrow morning, we'll be around. Let us know if you guys need anything here, and before we hit the ground running. All right, take care of yourselves, guys.
And
And
each other.
till we meet again. Mwah.
Take care, man.
Oh, a Q&A. We can do that.
Look at